On a vibrant Sunday morning at a bustling Cafe C in downtown Chicago, the patio was alive with the chatter and laughter of patrons, many of whom were parents accompanied by their spirited children. Kids, energized by the sunny day, darted between tables, seemingly immune to their parents' gentle scoldings. Emily sat watching this lively scene, her heart burdened with a secret she had carried for far too long. Today, she was ready to unburden herself. She had arranged to meet her lifelong friend Jennifer at this popular spot, known for its comforting ambiance and excellent coffee. Jennifer, now sitting across from her, took a slow sip of her iced tea, her eyes observant and calm. "You said you had something important to discuss?" Jennifer prompted, breaking the comfortable silence as she noted Emily's hesitant demeanor. Emily played with her glass, watching the condensation trail down the side. "I'm not sure this was the best place for a serious talk. It's so lively here, especially for a weekend morning." As a pediatrician and a mother herself, Jennifer couldn't help but smile at the chaos around them. "I actually find it soothing," she confessed. "It's healthy for kids to be this energetic. It's the quiet ones you have to worry about." Emily gave a weak smile but didn't respond, her gaze drifting to a nearby family. The young parents were laughing as their two boys enthusiastically devoured cupcakes, their faces and shirts smeared with frosting. The scene was endearing yet poignant, reminding Emily of the personal joys she had yet to experience. "Earth to Emily!" Jennifer exclaimed, snapping her fingers lightly near Emily's face, trying to draw her back to the present. "You zoned out there. What's on your mind?" Shaking off her reverie, Emily apologized. "Sorry, Jen, I just got lost in my thoughts for a moment. You're right. I've been feeling really off these days. I'm not myself." Jennifer leaned in, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Is it something to do with Michael? Or are you possibly expecting?" she asked, half joking, half serious, trying to lighten the mood with a guess that might explain her friend's distracted state. Emily blushed and hurriedly waved the suggestion away. "No, nothing like that. Why would you think that?" "Well, you're not getting any younger, and it wouldn't be such a surprise, right? But if it's not that, then what? You seem really weighed down," Jennifer pressed, her tone a mix of concern and curiosity. Their conversation was briefly interrupted by a child zooming past in a toy car, his laughter filling the air. Jennifer suggested, "Why don't we go somewhere quieter? Maybe a walk in the park would be better for this conversation." Agreeing, they found a secluded spot in the serene city park, away from the hustle and bustle. The only sounds were the gentle rustling of leaves and the distant laughter of children playing. Here, under the shade of old oaks, the world seemed to stand still, providing a perfect backdrop for confessions. "Now, this feels right for a heart-to-heart," Jennifer encouraged, her expression gentle. "You look like you're carrying the weight of the world. What's going on, Emily?" With a heavy sigh, Emily began to open up about her long-held secret, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's about something I did years ago, decisions, that weren't just about me, but affected others too. And now, I'm caught in the consequences of those choices." As Emily delved into her story, starting with an old memory that had changed her life's path, Jennifer listened intently. The friends had been inseparable since childhood, often viewed as two halves of a whole, their nicknames in school blending into one. Yet, despite their closeness, there were parts of Emily's life that she had kept hidden, driven by a deep-seated fear of judgment. This secret, however, was something she could no longer keep. As she spoke, Jennifer's expression shifted from surprise to empathy, a testament to the enduring strength of their friendship. It was a moment of vulnerability and truth, set against the tranquil backdrop of nature, where Emily finally felt the relief of unburdening her soul. Emily had always dreamed of exploring the natural world, aspiring to become a biologist. This aspiration caused a rift between her and Jennifer as they pursued different academic paths, leading to a temporary estrangement during their college years. However, destiny had its plans, and a family reunion brought them back together. Before a much-needed vacation, Emily's father playfully suggested, "Sweetheart, take a break after your graduation. Who knows, you might even meet your Mr. Right on this trip." Her mother, always grounded in reality, chuckled at her husband's whimsical ideas. "In fairy tales, maybe, but in real life you're more likely to find a prince with a mountain of student loans rather than a white horse." Despite these light-hearted family debates, Emily quipped with a smile. Ill compromise for a prince driving a second-hand Mercedes. In today's world, that's pretty much a white horse, right? Little did Emily know, her lighthearted joke was a prelude to her own destiny. On the very first day of her trip, she met Michael, a charming man who, coincidentally, drove a Mercedes. This encounter seemed almost too good to be true. Following a whirlwind romance, he proposed to her in a traditional yet grand manner, seeking her parents' approval with a large bouquet and champagne in hand. Emily had sensed that something significant was about to unfold. Her relationship with Michael blossomed rapidly. He was the embodiment of the man she had envisioned, a true gentleman with a passion for his burgeoning career in IT, a field that was just starting to gain significant traction. Michael was not only handsome, but also impressively successful, holding several patents and being recognized as a pioneer in the tech industry. His charm and intellect quickly won over Emily's parents. The thought that they might be letting an exceptional match for their daughter slip away was unfathomable, so they joyfully welcomed him into their family. The wedding was a vibrant and joyous celebration, held at a venue where Emily and Jennifer had reunited years after their college separation. Jennifer, thrilled for her friend, played a pivotal role as Emily's maid of honor. During the reception, amidst the laughter and dance, Jennifer leaned over to Emily and whispered, "I'm so envious, Emily. It's like you're living out a perfect fairy tale. A charming and successful husband, a beautiful ceremony, and what looks like a promising future ahead. Meanwhile, I'm still on my quest to find my perfect match." However, fate was kind to Jennifer as well. At the same wedding, she met Tony, one of Michael's groomsmen. They hit it off instantly, and it wasn't long before Jennifer found herself planning her own wedding. An old wives' tale suggested that when two friends marry from the same wedding party, one marriage is doomed to fail. Yet, this superstition did not hold true for them. Both couples thrived, enveloped in love and mutual respect. Despite the initial bliss, Emily and Michael faced their trials, particularly when it came to starting a family. The years passed without the pitter-patter of little feet, which led them to consider alternatives like adoption and IVF. Michael, however, was resistant to the idea of IVF, his pride wounded by the implication that he might be the issue. "I don't need tests to know I'm fine. It must be something on your end," he stubbornly insisted. This stubbornness brought a chill to their marriage. Michael feared the results of a medical test might reveal something about his health he wasn't ready to face. This fear turned into avoidance, where he began staying late at work, his presence at home dwindling over time. Emily, deeply hurt and bewildered by his growing distance, feared his late nights were not spent alone. Frequently, he would call just to say, "Don't wait up and buried in work," his voice void of the warmth it once carried. This change marked a profound shift in their relationship, from warm affection to a cold, strained coexistence. Emily was left to ponder the fading echoes of their once vibrant love, holding on to hope that somehow they could find their way back to each other. Recently, Michael had only been sleeping in his office, a reflection of the growing distance between him and his wife, Emily. One chilly evening, however, for the first time in many months of strained relations, he surprised Emily by returning to their shared bed. This unexpected gesture sparked a faint glimmer of hope within her that perhaps their marriage could still be salvaged. But as the dawn light filtered through the curtains the next morning, Emily was met not by the warm, familiar eyes of her husband, but by a cold, distant gaze that seemed to look right through her. His abrupt departure after a silent breakfast left her heart sinking once again. Later that night, after Michael had retreated to the solitude of his makeshift bedroom in the office, Emily found herself wrestling with a mix of renewed hope and lingering doubt. This emotional turmoil was soon accompanied by physical signs that something was amiss. She began waking up with morning sickness, and her cravings took a strange turn, compelling her to reach for food she normally wouldn't consider. Concerned and confused, Emily decided to visit the local clinic where they had discussed the possibility of undergoing IVF treatments. The clinic was a modern facility, known for its compassionate care and advanced reproductive technologies. After a thorough examination, the doctor, with a warm and reassuring smile, handed Emily unexpected news. "Congratulations, you're going to be a mom." The words hit Emily like a wave, leaving her stunned. She sat down abruptly, her mind racing with questions. "Just like that?" she managed to ask, her voice tinged with disbelief. The doctor, sensing her confusion, took the time to explain. It's not uncommon for couples to suddenly conceive naturally after years of unsuccessful attempts. Sometimes, it's just a matter of biological timing or overcoming subtle incompatibilities, he suggested. He shared stories of other couples who had faced similar challenges, including one who had conceived naturally, just as they were about to start IVF after 2 decades of trying. With her heart swelling with a mix of joy and apprehension, Emily left the clinic feeling as if she were walking on air. She was eager to share this miraculous turn of events with Michael, hoping it might bring them back together. However, as she approached their home, her optimism quickly dissolved. Standing in the doorway was Michael, but he was not alone. Beside him was a young woman, her pregnancy unmistakably apparent. Michael's expression was unreadable as he introduced the woman as Jessica. He explained, in a tone that was both resolute and devoid of warmth, that since Emily had not been able to give him a child, he had found someone who could. Our marriage has been over for a long time, and now it's clear we have nothing left to connect us, he declared, stating that the house, legally his, was no longer Emily's home. As Michael detailed his justifications, citing legal and emotional reasons for their separation, a fierce resolve took root in Emily. Drawing upon a strength she didn't know she had, she interrupted him. "This isn't your child, Michael. Medical tests have shown you can't have children," she said calmly, her voice steady despite the turmoil inside. The revelation shocked both Jessica and Michael, causing a moment of stunned silence to fall over the room. Michael, confused and defensive, demanded an explanation. Emily, seizing control of the narrative, revealed that she had secretly had him tested after he repeatedly refused to do so. "The tests don't lie, Michael," she stated, her claim a desperate gambit to reclaim some dignity from the ruins of their relationship. Silence enveloped the room as the weight of Emily's words hung heavy in the air. Michael, visibly shaken, looked between Emily and Jessica, trying to process the unexpected turn of events. His thoughts were a whirlwind of confusion and betrayal, unable to reconcile the image of the woman he thought he knew with the reality before him. Emily watched with a complex mix of satisfaction and sadness, seeing the crestfallen expression on Michael's face as he grappled with the implications of her revelation. Jessica, pale and distraught, glanced at Emily, then back at Michael, her eyes wide with fear and confusion. Suddenly, overwhelmed by the tension and the potential consequences of her involvement, she turned and hurried out of the house, her footsteps echoing sharply as she fled. Emily's heart ached at the sight, knowing all too well the pain of shattered illusions. Left alone with Michael, Emily braced herself for his response. After a long, tense moment, he spoke in a low, steely voice. "I need an explanation, Emily. How can you be so sure?" His voice betrayed a hint of vulnerability, a crack in the facade of the confident man he always presented. Emily, maintaining her composure, explained that she had taken matters into her own hands after years of uncertainty and Michael's refusal to confront the possibility of his own infertility. "I did it because I needed to know the truth," she said firmly. "The clinic performed the test discreetly, and the results were clear. You cannot father a child." Michael's face hardened as he processed the news, the initial shock giving way to a dawning realization of the depth of their marital discord. "So, all this time, it was me," he murmured almost to himself. The room fell silent again, the only sound the distant traffic from outside, a reminder of the world moving on around them. The confrontation had laid bare the raw truths between them, stripping away any remaining pretenses. Michael's posture slumped as he absorbed the blow, his mind racing through the past years, reevaluating each moment and each decision that had led them to this juncture. With the tension still thick in the air, Emily continued, "I thought our marriage was beyond saving, Michael. That's why I went ahead with the IVF. I thought if I could bring a child into our lives, maybe it could mend the fractures between us." Her voice was soft but filled with a resolute sadness, the weight of their failed attempts at reconciliation hanging between them. Michael looked at her, his expression a complex tapestry of regret, resentment, and resignation. "You should have told me," he said quietly. "We should have faced this together." His voice was low, not accusatory, but reflective, acknowledging his part in their shared failures. As they stood amidst the emotional wreckage, Michael's demeanor softened slightly. "I don't know what to say, Emily. I need time to think about all this." His words trailed off, leaving a palpable uncertainty in the room. In the following weeks, Michael's once frequent absences ceased, and though he became more withdrawn, the overt neglect that had characterized his recent behavior diminished. Emily, caught in her own web of deception and hope, found herself navigating a new reality. She had claimed the IVF was successful, a lie born of desperation to hold on to the last vestiges of their marriage. As her pregnancy progressed, Michael observed from a distance, his involvement cautious and hesitant. The situation was complicated, fraught with unspoken questions and tentative interactions. Emily watched him grapple with the reality of impending fatherhood, his actions betraying a conflicted mix of curiosity and distant hope. Throughout this period, Emily's close friend Sarah provided a steady source of support. Sarah listened intently to Emily's recounting of the events, her face reflecting a spectrum of emotions, from anger and disbelief to a pained empathy. When Emily finished, Sarah couldn't contain her dismay. "Do you realize the gravity of what you've done, Emily? This isn't just playing with fate, it's playing with lives." Emily's eyes filled with tears, the full weight of her actions crashing down upon her. She sobbed, her body shaking with the intensity of her emotions. Sarah, stern yet caring, reached into her purse for a sedative. "These tears won't fix what's been broken," she said softly, her voice a soothing balm in the stark reality of their conversation. Finally, after searching through her bag, Laura found a strip of antacid tablets, a remnant of her constant battle with stress-related heartburn. "Take this. It should help calm things down," she offered one to Emily, who accepted it with a nod. Within minutes, the sharp edge of her anxiety dulled. "You're right, Laura. I've really messed up with all these lies. But I was trying to protect our family," Emily confessed, her voice heavy with regret. "There's more I haven't told you yet." "Go ahead," Laura urged, ready to listen. "Just yesterday, while Michael was at work, Veronica came by," Emily continued, her voice breaking as tears welled up. She buried her face in Laura's shoulder, her words muffled but laden with sorrow. "And what did she say?" Laura gently prompted, trying to piece together the jumbled speech. "She has a daughter, Mia, who's 6 months older than our Danny. It turns out Michael has another daughter," Emily revealed, the pain evident in her voice. "And he knows nothing about it? How will you manage to tell him after all this time?" Laura asked, her tone filled with concern. "I don't know where to start. What should I do, Laura?" Emily sobbed, her distress palpable. "You need to come clean, starting with a confession. It's time to tell Michael everything," Laura advised firmly, her words echoing the weight of the situation. "I'm scared, Laura. How can I admit that I've deceived him for so long?" Emily's fear was clear in her trembling voice. "You've tangled things pretty badly. Now you're the only one who can untangle them," Laura said, her voice stern but supportive as she got up to leave. Emily spent the evening anxiously waiting for the right moment to talk to Michael. His observant eyes followed her as she paced the apartment, her nervous energy unmistakable. "Do you have something you need to tell me?" Michael finally asked, his voice calm but insistent. "You can hide from this. I've seen how you've been acting. Even Danny noticed something's off." Taking a deep breath, Emily gathered her courage. "Yes, Michael, there's something important I need to tell you." Michael listened quietly as Emily revealed that Danny was indeed his biological son, a fact he had suspected from the moment they brought him home from the hospital. "I knew it, Emily. He's the spitting image of me as a child, and his mannerisms are unmistakably mine," Michael confessed, his reaction surprisingly calm. "And you just kept quiet all this time?" Emily asked, incredulous. "What was I supposed to say? I was waiting for you to come clean about your schemes first," Michael explained, his voice even. "Now let's leave the past behind, but make sure Danny never learns about this." "But that's not everything, Michael. There's more," Emily continued, her voice shaky. "Veronica came by yesterday. You remember her, right?" Michael's face darkened at the mention of his former lover. "Why did she come? Does she need money?" "It's not about money, Michael. It's about Maya, your daughter. Veronica lied to me years ago, claiming Mia didn't survive birth, but she's alive." Collapsing into a chair, Emily felt overwhelmed by the twisted web of deceit they were all caught in. What a nightmare. This deceit started with me, but it's affected everyone, including Mia. If I had known, I would have made sure she was part of our lives. Children shouldn't suffer for adult mistakes, Michael agreed, his tone resigned yet resolute. "How do we handle this now?" Emily asked, looking into Michael's eyes, seeing for the first time in years the man she had fallen in love with. "Today, I spoke with Laura. She suggested we embrace Mia, consider legal steps if necessary, and not overlook the role of her mother," Emily relayed Laura's advice. "You're wise to think so," Michael responded softly, pulling Emily into a gentle embrace and kissing her forehead tenderly. The next day, Michael and Emily decided to meet Mia and her mother. The hostess, caught off guard by their visit, started to retreat to the kitchen, but Emily reassured her, "Don't fuss. We won't stay long." "Do you want to meet Mia?" Emily asked Michael gently. "She looks a lot like you. Mia, come here," Michael called out softly. From behind a slightly ajar door, a slender teenager emerged. Emily gasped slightly. The girl bore a striking resemblance to Michael. In a calm voice tinged with a mix of curiosity and sadness, Mia asked, "Are you my dad?" "Yes, we're here to see you and also to invite you to spend the weekend with us," Michael replied gently, a mix of emotions crossing his face. "Okay, but please tell your son not to pick on me," Mia responded, a hint of nervousness in her voice. Emily was surprised Mia knew about Danny. "I told her about your family, that she has a brother," Veronica explained. "Mia, we are so sorry and we ask for your forgiveness," Michael said sincerely, his gaze lowered. And so the long-awaited weekend arrived. Danny, initially shocked to learn he had a sister, quickly embraced the idea. "I have a sister, and she's my age? That's so cool. I'll introduce her to all my friends. I just hope she's not a bore," he exclaimed, his initial shock replaced by youthful enthusiasm. Watching Danny warmly welcome Mia, Emily and Michael knew that despite the rocky path, their family could start anew, free from secrets. They realized that embracing the truth, no matter how painful, was the only way to heal and move forward. As they watched their children together, they felt a cautious optimism about the future, hopeful that the worst was behind them.